What's up, guys? Welcome to Blue Presents Podcast, a podcast where I discuss all things music. And today, my guest is Sam Whelton, drummer of Saving Vice and owner of Break Loose Clothing. And man, we talk about Sam's journey into music, as well as him becoming a member of Saving Vice and how he started with Break Loose Clothing. But before we get started, man, I just want to say thank you guys to everyone who's listening, everybody who's been supporting, man. And once again, if you have show ideas or you'd like to reach out to me or be a guest on my show, check me out on Facebook and Instagram at Blue Presents a Podcast, on Twitter at Podcast of Blue. And now you can follow me on Twitch, Hope_prevails_. Hopefully I will be bringing you some content there. I just to kind of give you guys an idea. I do play video games. I tend to usually like survival horror games, The Last of Us, Resident Evil 2, Resident Evil 2 Remake, and pretty much Resident Evil in general. I could go on and on. But yeah, it's something new I'm going to be trying this year, man. And I'll give you guys some more details about that as well. But before we get started, man, listen to my buddy AJ Pelletier tell you why you should be listening to the Roads We Travel podcast.
Hey everyone, AJ Pelletier here, and I'm here to talk to you about my podcast, The Roads We've Traveled. It's a podcast where every week I talk to guests and friends from music, art, comedy, and more about their journeys through life, their struggles, their joys, and everything in between. You also get to know a little bit more about me and my journey as well. So if you like podcasts about good conversations about life, or maybe you're just looking to relate to somebody about some things you may be going through as well, then The Roads We've Traveled is the podcast for you. Subscribe to us today on Spotify, Apple, and Google Podcasts, or wherever you guys get your podcasts from. Check us out and subscribe to us on YouTube. And check us out at facebook.com/Roads We've Traveled Podcast. All right, everyone. Thanks.
What's up, guys? Welcome to Blue Presents a podcast where I discuss all things music and how it affects my life. And I am joined today by Sam Whelton of the band Saving Vice and owner of Break Loose Clothing line. What's going on, man?
What's up, man? How you doing today?
All right, man. Just living the dream, man. Dealing with water heater issues, but it is what it is. We'll get it through it. Man. So I'm gonna start you like I start everybody else, man. What are your top 5 artists, man? And it can be your top 5 artists of all time or top 5 artists of what you're listening to currently.
Okay. I'm gonna do a mix of the two.
Okay.
So number 1, let's do From First to Last, my all-time favorite band. They're the best. So From First to Last, throw in Bring Me the Horizon. Bring Me the Horizon's huge. I'm going to throw in Wargasms UK. Wargasm is like my new favorite band. They're great. Youngblood. I'm throwing Youngblood. And I'm going to have to give it to the Nova Twins right now. I've been jamming them like nonstop.
Okay. Unfamiliar with 2 of those artists, but I'm definitely going to check that out after this episode.
Yes.
No worries. Man, so basically my podcast is just a discussion about the journey into music, man. So Sam, how did it start for you? How did you know that beating on a drum was something you wanted to do, man?
Oh man. Okay. So, my grandfather was a professional musician in the 60s, and my father was a drummer as well. So when I was born, my dad had a drum kit at the house, and my grandfather and my father just kind of like, they knew that they wanted me to become a drummer. And, so I was just always around it. Like there's baby pictures of me, like asleep on a snare drum and stuff like that. Like I've just always been around it. Actually, if you watch our music video for our song Hollow Bastion, we each have an acting scene in that video. And my acting scene is, I'm kind of like in a straitjacket, and I'm watching like old home videos of myself when I was a kid, because the song is about the fear of growing old. So we kind of wanted to have some aspect, and my thought was having myself watch home videos and stuff. So it's like, if you're watching the music video, you'll see like I'm on the floor, like hitting the ground and stuff. So like, I figured I'd throw that in there. So I got my first kit when I was around 6. It was a Yamaha, cheap Yamaha kit. And, I started out by playing to bands like Motley Crue and Rush and Aerosmith and stuff like that. And yeah, I don't know. I just continued playing for years. I just never stopped. The house I grew up in, I actually had like a soundproof studio behind the house itself. So like, being a little kid, that's like the best, just get away from everyone. And, I had my drum set up there. So I just spent years practicing in there. And I started my first band when I was in 7th grade. And, it's just been over the years, just going from one band to another band. I stopped in high school for a little bit. I still played on my own, and like all my friends played. But yeah, in the past, like 18 years, there's maybe been like a 2-year span where I wasn't active in the music scene. Yeah. I just love drumming. It's just what I do, man.
No, nothing wrong with that, man. And that's cool that you got the opportunity to start early, because I'm sure some of us who play music wish we got in that early jump, and where you would be if you were a little bit earlier into it.
It's crazy. I see, like, I've been watching a lot of YouTube videos on different drummers, and like I'll watch their interviews, and like a lot of these awesome drummers didn't start until like some of them like early 20s. And it's like, damn, I've been in it for so long.
Yeah, no. And sometimes we forget that those opportunities that we get, man, it is what it is. Some of us come in later in the game and kill it. And some of us start out, right out the gate, just doing what we do best, man.
For sure. And it's hard for a lot of people too, because there's a lot of kids out there that like, they know they want to be drummers and stuff, but like, it's just such a loud instrument. Luckily now we have the electronic drum sets and stuff, so it's really easy for anyone to really pick up drumming. But like, when I was growing up, it's like a lot of kids I knew, they wanted to play drums, but the parents, they don't want to deal with the loud ruckus and stuff like that. So shout out to my parents for letting me pursue what I love.
Exactly, man. In actuality, if you want to go even further than that, this past year, me and my wife bought my son actual sticks that make all the sounds, and you don't need the kit.
I know what you're talking about. That's
cool. They're kind of cool. They light up kind of blue at the end of the tips, and he can kind of mimic everything. Obviously, the only thing he can't do is the kick drum, but for the most part, he's just basically doing blast beats all day, because that's the only sound he can get to go. Exactly.
Boston stick twirling and stuff.
So Sam, let's talk about the other part of your life now. You're the drummer in Saving Vice, man. How did you become a part of Saving Vice, man?
So, as I was saying earlier, it's like I've been in and out of bands for years. So I was playing out of a local band, an alternative group called Sick Vita. And, they're a really good band. You should totally check them out when you have the time. And like it was a great band, but we just kind of like, the music scene, it was mainly like hardcore and metalcore going around. So like, being in like an alternative band, it was like so hard for us to like just get out there and play shows, because like there's no other band like us around here, like we just didn't really have the opportunities that you need starting out. And I was just at home one day, and I was just like upstairs on Facebook, and I saw like this picture. It was like Saving Vice Warped Tour, the Massachusetts date. And it was a promo picture of Tyler looking all emo and stuff. I was like, oh, this kid looks cool. So I checked out the band, and I listened to their song Exhale, because that's all they had released at the time. And I remember I was like, this is pretty sick. And like I sent it to my friend Rob, because like, me and him are like into the same stuff. And I was like, yo, do you like this band? And he's like, dude, these guys are sick. I was like, they need a drummer. And he's like, dude, you have to audition. So I like started like doing some Facebook creeping, and I found the members and stuff. And I found out that I was like actually already Facebook friends with Chase. So like I slid into Chase's DMs, and he shot me down wicked quick. It was Matt Plain. He's like, oh dude, no, we don't need a drummer. We're all set. And I was like, oh, bummer. I was like, all right, whatever. And then like 20 minutes later, Robbie contacted me like out of the blue. He's like, bro, don't listen to Chase. We need a drummer. Like, I was like, oh shit. So I ended up talking with Robbie on the phone for like at least like 2 hours, just like, getting to know each other and stuff like that. It was funny he was like, so how are you gonna be like in this band? Like, don't you like go to like school and stuff? I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, well, you look wicked young. I would assume you're still in high school. I'm like, bro, I'm like 27. I just have a really baby face, you know. So he thought I was a lot younger than I am. It was pretty funny, but but yeah. So I don't know. I just remember I was talking to Robbie for a couple hours, and you know, we just kind of hit it off, and like all the other guys ended up adding me on Facebook. So I started like just chatting with them and stuff. And they sent me Colder Than Dark before it was released. And they're like, all right, well, you know, they originally had me learn Hell Here and do like a video audition. It's actually, we have a Facebook group called the SV Fam. Shout out SV Fam. That any of you guys can join if you want. Just type in the SV family on Facebook and you can request to join. But there's actually my audition videos in there that you can find if you do a little digging.
Wow. Okay.
So I did my drum video of Hell Here, and they all loved it. And I was like, all right, cool. So I guess now I can do like a real audition. And they're like, all right, now we want you to do a drum video of Euthanasia. I was like, God damn it. But so I ended up learning Euthanasia right after, sent that over. They loved it. And we ended up setting an audition at Cody's house in Pepperell. So that, like, I live in Plymouth. So Pepperell is northern Massachusetts, right on the border of New Hampshire.
Actually, here's a funny story. I used to go to Job Corps in Devons, which isn't that far from Pepperell. And I was in a band, one of my first few bands, Section 12, which was like very short-lived. And we used to practice in Pepperell, actually.
Oh, really?
Practice, yeah.
Oh, that's small world. That's fun. Dude, Pepperell's cool.
No, it is. It is. Yeah. You can drive around it in about 5 or 10 minutes anyways.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, so like I ended up going to Pepperell. I had my audition. And we banged out the set and it was great. I don't remember if I think I might have had more than one audition. Yeah, I think I did, because the first day I went there, it was just the bandmates and one of our homies, TJ, he was hanging out there. And then my second audition, Ashley, our manager, was there. And we ran through the set, and then they did that thing where it's like, all right, go sit outside. We're going to like discuss you.
You're out there sweating bullets. Like, what's going on? Am I in or am I not? Yeah,
exactly. I'm out there just like doing thing. And they ended up like opening the door, like, you can come in. So I go in, I sit down, and they're like, all right, well, we want to move forward with you.
Yeah.
That's basically how it came to be. I ended up joining the band, and our first show together was in Worcester. It was the only venue besides the Palladium I played in Worcester. It was called the Raven, I think.
Yeah.
I think it actually recently like burned down, sadly.
Wow.
Yeah, but so I played my first show with them at the Raven, and then like right after that we dropped Colder Than Dark, and it went through the roof. Got on billboards and stuff like that. So like, you know, we ended up doing the Warped Tour show. That was hype too. Cause like, you know, I came across Saving Vice through a Warped Tour ad, and then like, you know, 6 months later I was playing it with them. That was sick. But yeah, 2018 was just filled with crazy freaking shows. Like it was like great because like I spent so many years like just trying to find a group that like had the same mindset as me, and like it was just ready to get on the road and just play. So like it was like the perfect opportunity for me when I came across these guys. Like they just released Colder Than Dark, so it's like, you know, right when I got into the band, we just automatically started playing show after show. So yeah, that's basically how it came into joining the band.
Yeah, man. And that's pretty awesome because you know, even I've had Ian, you know, on my show before. Shout out to Ian.
Yeah, shout out Ian.
Love him. And a big fan. And the one thing I noticed, even in just conversations with him, and just hearing the story that you just told, is the tight-knit mindset that Saving Vice has. And it sounds like you guys move as one mind, and that's pretty awesome because, to be honest with you, and a lot of people don't realize this, being in a band and you're wanting to truly make it, you have to have a singularity mindset that we need to take the correct steps in order to make it. How do you think that has affected you as a member, as well as being a drummer, and realizing the goal here is to be as big as we possibly can be and do what we need to do to be in front of everyone?
Well, first, let me stop you with the same mind thing, because like, you know, with any band, you know, everyone has different thoughts and ideas and stuff like that. But it's what Saving Vice has come to learn is like we just gotta learn to pick our battles, because you know, like at the end of the day, we all do have the same goals, but like, you know, we all have like a bunch of different ideas and stuff, and you know, it's like me, for instance, like I am like the most known in the band for coming up with like the craziest ideas that we'll never use. But there's always that one idea I'll come up with that'll be a game changer, you know?
Exactly.
So like it can get pretty hectic with, you know, like all the stuff we're trying to do, because we're always trying to just do stuff like something new and something different and stick out and, you know, be as unique as we can possibly be, while at the same time doing like the music we love, you know? So if you could repeat your question,
no, it's fine, man. No worries.
Main question was,
so just kind of clarify the singularity mindset. What I'm talking about is, you know, making sure you guys move as one when you do make a decision. It seems like that things kind of get vetted before you know, like you may throw your crazy idea out there, but everybody's in the room to go, okay, it's crazy. Let's reel it in a little bit, or let's pick out what we want to get from said idea. And it sounds like you guys have a pretty good mixture, as well as not only just you guys in the band, but it seems like, you know.
Yeah, we're very tight knit. We have a whole entire crew set up. Shout out Amelia, shout out Audrey, shout out Ian. Ian's been with us since day one. Like that Raven show I just told you about, that was the first day I met Ian. And I don't think there's been one Saving Vice show we've played where he hasn't been there. I think there might have been one, because he was like already booked to photograph maybe Architects or something like that. But we have a wicked tight knit fam, and it's like it's always coming up with different ideas and stuff like that. But yeah, we always do end up like leaning on, you know, like the main goal, which is just, you know, doing what we love, writing the music we love, and getting in front of as many people as possible. But the band is very family oriented, and that is probably my favorite thing about Saving Vice, because, you know, like you can't just be in a band with like people and, you know, like not be family, you know. It's like, it's literally like being in a serious band is like being married to like 5 different guys. So like, you know, like I was saying, you just got to pick your battles, and, you know, just we're all in the same bus going to the same place. So like, like with the crazy ideas too, it's like, for 2020, we had a lot of them, because like we had to constantly just come up with new stuff to do. And I think one of the coolest things I came up with was our SV quarantine playlist. We came up with that in April. And I thought of the idea of like, you know, getting a bunch of cool underground metalcore bands, you know, that like we could vibe with and stuff like that. So I got a list of bands going, got them all set up, and we came up with the idea of doing, you know, kind of like a podcast thing like we were doing. We ended up calling it Vice Dreams. And since I came up with the idea of Vice Dreams, we've already interviewed probably like 15 like badass musicians, and like, you know, Tyler's doing one in a couple hours with Tyler Tate of Holofront.
Wow.
Yeah, shout out Holofront.
Yes.
That would be sick. So, you know, it's been a lot of fun. It's like just coming up with ideas and just doing as much cool stuff as we can possibly do without playing shows, you know. It all comes down to just having fun, man. That's all it is, you know.
And it seems like you guys have done that this year, man, and releasing, you know, some pretty solid singles this year, even though we're all pretty much trapped indoors, you know. Talk about how you guys are having to approach it differently than you would as if we could just go play shows and you guys can be like, okay, we got this new song. What do you guys think? Now you're just like, here's this new song. We have to wait for the feedback. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, like most of the stuff we dropped this year wouldn't have been dropped if it wasn't for Corona. Like, you know, we dropped our debut album at the beginning of the year. And, you know, the original plan was to drop the album and just fucking tour, you know. Am I allowed to swear on this?
Yeah, man, you can do whatever you want, man. There's no, you can drop it.
All right, my bad. So like, you know, we dropped our debut album, and, you know, we had a couple tours lined up that we were going to do, and that was like the plan. And once COVID hit, you know, it's like, you know, basically decided, well, we got to keep we got to stay relevant. So, like first thing we did was like, I came up with the playlist and then the Vice Stream stuff. And first thing we dropped after COVID hit, I think it was the Never Knows Best reprise. I think that was the first thing we dropped. That was cool. We got in contact with Mystique. Shout out Mystique. She's an awesome keyboard player from Australia. She's featured on the Never Knows Best piano reprise. That's probably it's top 3 for sure. I was gonna say my favorite, but now I think So Safe Acoustic's my favorite. But yeah, so we dropped the piano reprise, and then after that we were already in the process of doing the Binary EP at that point, actually, too. So we were already in the process of writing the Binary EP. And yeah.
The simulation
I'm trying to think because it was like, it was a weird process. Like, it's like, cause like, COVID just hit. So it's like, all this shit and like the real world was happening. So like trying to balance the both was pretty crazy. But I remember we dropped Piano Reprise and I was already in the process of writing the simulation. So I wrote the drum parts for the simulation, and then we went in and did the Spire, got that done. It was a big team effort on that one, but mainly Robbie. Robbie killed it with the production on that. That was all. The Binary is completely self-produced, and Robbie absolutely slayed that. Shout out Hell Here Studios too, because like Robbie, our guitar player, is actually recording bands now and producing and stuff like that. So follow Hell Here Studios on Instagram. But yeah, after we got the demo done for the Binary, we were kind of working on that on the side, and then we dropped another Life acoustic. We dropped that one. I think that was like September or August we dropped that. And not to mention, while we were doing this, we also did like the Echoes from the Gutter video. We did a couple of music videos. Tyler did the Never Knows Best reprise video. And then after that, we dropped the Binary. And then right after Binary in December, like a couple weeks ago, we dropped So Safe Acoustic. So it's been wicked hectic. Like there's so much stuff that's been going on behind the scenes. It's hard for me to like remember like the order of like all of our releases and stuff. It's crazy.
No, man. And it seems like you guys have been pretty much hustling. I think right around when Binary dropped, I had heard your guys' Evanescence cover, which was kind of like what was the first thing I heard from you guys.
The Bring Me to Life cover.
Yeah. And then definitely the Binary EP, I was definitely in. I was like, okay, these guys are something to be dealt with for real. And I had heard other stuff, especially when I had Ian on. Ian kind of like talked about you guys a bit. So I was like, all right, well, let me see what's up with these guys and definitely show them some love and stuff like that. And it seems, it seems like you guys really have a pretty strong fan base, very vocal fan base as well, too. I see a lot of, anytime you guys drop anything, there's a good response, man. And that's what's up, man. And that's definitely what you want to do, especially now when you're still we're unable, or we don't know when exactly we'll be able to get back to playing to shows or going to shows, so this is kind of that moment where you really need to use some of those crazy ideas you're coming up with to kind of make it going.
I've always come up with crazy ideas. Even when I was a little kid, I was always trying to come up with cool stuff. It's like I always wanted to be an inventor, like just invent something cool. I like, for instance, my dad had a neighbor when I was living in the Cape with him for a little bit. His neighbor is the guy that invented the barcode, and I thought that was like the coolest thing ever.
Whoa! Yeah, I was about to say, yeah, that's nuts.
He invented the barcode. And I was like, maybe I can incorporate that into the simulation of the Spire. That's how the barcode and the simulation of Spire came to be. But no, I'm just kidding. But as for the Binary, that's probably one of my favorite releases we've done. Like even any of the songs off the Hello There album. And it's surprising because I've never really been into hardcore music. And there's a lot of hardcore feels in those songs. And, I don't know if it just like from just grooving them and like learning and listening to bands like Knock Loose and stuff, I kind of had to force myself to do it at first, but I'm starting to actually truly enjoy the music. And shout out Degrader. Like Degrader's like awesome. Like out of any hardcore band, they're right from around here. They're like easily my favorite for sure.
Yeah. Well, So let's transition from talking about one crazy idea to an idea that you have going right now. You have a clothing line, Break Loose Clothing, which I let my wife was quite interested. She took a look and she's just like, "Ooh, I know what I'm ordering next."
Oh yeah.
So she's got some pretty pieces. So how did you get started with the clothing line, man?
So I started with the clothing line in 2017. I was working at a Zoomies and I was just like intrigued with these new brands that were coming out, like Sketchy Tank and stuff like that. What's the other one? Working Class is Sick. And I've always been into fashion and stuff like that. And I recently started getting to like a modeling career for a little bit. And I just like kind of like, it was just a mix between the photography and just like the passion for fashion, I guess. I decided I wanted to just start making my own stuff, and it just like started with like an idea. Like I had like a couple of different clothing line name ideas before ultimately settling with Break Loose. But like I love like how I'm a strong believer that like things are meant to be. And like there was just an instance where I was just at home one day. It was like 2:30 in the morning, and I was like really like stressing myself out about like the name, because like anything I do, I want it to be like perfect, like from the get-go. So I was like conflicted with these names, and then I was like just watching, like I was just like having TV on, just like drown out the noise, and like someone was just like, "Oh, hell's gonna break loose," or something weird like that. And I was like, "Oh, break loose," and like like I thought that was cool, like just the meaning of it. It kind of like felt right for the message I was going for. And it was funny because when I was coming up with the name, I had this notebook, and like there was 2 pages and they were just filled with like these 2 different names. So like I originally wanted to call it Divided Life, but then I found out it was a band in the Cape. So what I did is I wrote Divided Life, and then I did sections, and I was like kind of branching off from that thing and doing something similar. So like on the left side, it was like Break Life or something dumb like that. And then like the other side was like Loose Life, divided Loose Life or something. And it was just funny because I looked at it after I already decided on the name, and like the break was on the left side and the loose was like directly next to it on the other side of the paper. It was just like a crazy coincidence. So I was like, yeah, that was totally meant to be. So I dropped the clothing line at the end of 2017. I had that going for a little bit. And I was still very like new to like social media and stuff like that. I was just starting to build my following and like learn the algorithms and stuff like that. So it was a big learning curve. And then, I was kind of doing my own thing with it. And then, not even 6 months later is when I came across Saving Vice. And I kind of put more of my marbles into the Saving Vice basket when I joined. And like, I still have the clothing line doing its own thing. And once 2019 hit, I wasn't doing much with it, and I actually almost decided to like start a whole new brand entirely. But like we were writing our debut album, and like we were playing a bunch of shows, so it's like I was mainly concerned with just like working and doing what I had to do with Saving Vice at the time while working a day job. And it wasn't until like the summer of 2019 that I really took Break Loose to the next level. Like I rebranded the entire thing. I got all my designs through my personal favorite graphic designer, Tom Sykes at 7points.uk. Awesome designs. If you guys don't know, if you guys aren't familiar with Tom Sykes, you can check out his work at, 7points.uk on Instagram. Good stuff.
Okay.
And so I just rebranded the entire thing. I got a little bit of a team set up, and it's been great. I did my Resurrection drop this past summer. That's so crazy. It's almost been like a year now. It was May 2020. I dropped the Resurrection launch, completely rebranded it, and then it's been doing great, man. I'm having a lot of fun with it. I've met a lot of cool people through it. I've been engaging with people from all over the world that love the brand and want to represent it. And it's just something I've always been passionate about, and it's just another side hustle I like to do. As for 2021, I definitely plan on doing some really awesome drops. So if anybody listening wants to follow, you can follow my Instagram at breakloose.co. I'm posting stuff every day. I'm always dropping new stuff. So yeah, it's just a fun deal. Like, dude, like I was saying with the whole crazy idea thing, like I'll probably come up with something I like even more in a couple of months, and I'll probably just totally jump on that.
Yeah, but I mean that's the mark of being a creative. You just keep coming up with new ideas, and if you're not coming up with new ideas, then you're kind of like, you probably feel like you're kind of stale, or you feel like you're not doing what you should be doing. And that's crazy, because it seems like, Saving Vice is an operation in itself, with so many things that you guys have going on, releasing singles and music videos. And then here you are just like, you know what? I'm going to tempt fate and drop a clothing line and really give it my all.
Dude, that's not even half of it. Like, so I got the clothing line, I got Saving Vice, I'm also a 2nd degree black belt in Weight Karate. So it's like, I'm always working out. And like, I got really into reading in 2020. That is like my new favorite thing. I probably read at least 3 hours a day at this point. I'm diving into a new book right now that I like a lot. And I learned how to use like 3 different DAW programs last year, which was friggin' nuts. Crazy, dude. Like, I've never been good with technology. So like the fact that I learned how to use 3 DAWs is pretty cool in my opinion. But anyone that wants to learn how to use a DAW, don't use Reaper. Pro Tools is okay. And Logic is where it's at. If you have a Mac, use Logic.
Yeah.
That's where it's at. But
I'm over here figuring those things out for myself this past year, because I was a vocalist for so long, but I never was the type to be like, yo, show me this or show me that. So I've kind of had to learn what I've learned from like YouTube videos and just other friends who use similar programs as I do to do my podcast.
YouTube is great.
Oh yeah.
Like I learned so much through YouTube, so much. Like all of the skills I learned on programming straight, like basically all YouTube, and a lot of help from Robbie, because he like knows everything about that stuff. He's a genius when it comes to programming. But like, anyone that wants to like learn an instrument, it's like my dad was just saying that recently. It's like, when he was a kid, he's like, dude, I would have died to have YouTube. Like, just like, because you can just go in and see anyone. Like, if I want to learn a song on drums or something, I can literally go on YouTube, type drum cover, and it'll show someone playing the gist or something. And that, I just have a really good ear. So it's like, I can just listen to the song, and I can go downstairs and I already have an idea of what I'm going to do with it. But it's crazy times, man. Like how much technology has evolved in even like the past like 10 years. It's like, just gotta, I think that's the biggest thing too, is just being like, knowing you gotta roll with the times. So it's like all the technology and stuff, you gotta just upgrade with it, and like music too. Music is always changing,
Yeah, no, and that's, yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
And that's another thing I love about Saving Vice, is that we're not like stuck on one thing. We do whatever we want. We just dropped like our heaviest hardcore EP ever, and then a month later we dropped the prettiest acoustic song you heard all year. So like that's another thing I love about the band, is that we're always up for trying new things and being creative.
No, that's for real. So I'm going to throw a crazy idea out there for you guys, what I think you guys should definitely be focusing on, or try to focus on, especially because we don't know how much longer it's going to be until we get live shows or anything like that. Maybe you guys should start looking into an app, man.
We've thought of it.
Yeah.
We've thought of it. Yeah.
Some that you guys can put like maybe some exclusive performances, because like I said, you hear people saying we won't be back to shows until 2022 or the end of 2021, and who knows, man. There's so much uncertainty in the world. I mean, what's a better way than to have something in your hands from one of your favorite bands, really giving you exactly what you want, you know what I'm saying, whether it's exclusive live performances or interviews, and you guys could move the the Vice streams there too, and kind of hold them there as well too. That's actually something I'm looking at for my podcast this year, is a dedicated app, so that people can just kind of it's Friday, let's click on the Blue Presents a Podcast app, and go from there.
No, it's definitely a great idea. I'd love to set up an app at some point. Like the most similar thing we have to that right now is our SVIP. That's just like you can sign up for that on our website, but that gives you a bunch of like exclusive content, stuff we're doing behind the scenes, and more than likely we'll end up being some live stuff. Given shows don't come back till 2022. Like, there's no doubt in my mind that at some point Saving Vice will do something.
Exactly.
We're always like I said, we're always doing new stuff. So we haven't done a live stream yet. Probably gonna end up doing it at some point.
Yeah, I was gonna ask, man. Have you guys seen some of the bands that have done live streams? August Burns Red, The Pilot in You, Dayseeker, We Came as Romans. Kind of had that one big one that they did together.
Yeah, I personally haven't got into any live stream concerts. I just, it's just even like live shows in general. Like, I love concerts, but I love playing concerts. I love like going there, being on the stage and doing my thing, and then spending the day hanging out, watching other bands. I honestly don't remember the last time I bought tickets to like just go out to a show. Actually, that's a lie. Because the last show I went to was Thousand Below and Bad Omens at Brighton Music Hall. It was the day after the Saving Vice album show. I went to Alston with my girlfriend, and we met up with Benjamin. And we saw Thousand Below and Bad Omens and stuff. So I guess I was wrong. I do go to shows and stuff, but like I just don't enjoy it as much. It's like anytime I like buy tickets and go to a concert, the entire time I just want to be on the stage. Yeah,
you get that show envy,
it's just,
if you will. Get a little
yeah, that's pretty much it.
Well, man, so before we get out of here, man, I just want to say thank you for coming on today, man. I appreciate you, man, and it's a great story, man. And if anybody who hasn't checked out Saving Vice, apparently you're sleeping on them, and that's just disrespectful, so check those guys out for real. Before we get out of here, man, let's plug some of these social medias. We're going to start with the clothing line first. You can check him out at breakloose.co. You can also check him on Facebook, Break Loose Official, and on Instagram, breakloose.co as well. Also, check out Saving Vice at savingvice.com, as well as Saving Vice on Facebook and Instagram. Sam, thank you so much for coming on the show today, man. I truly appreciate you, man.
Oh, yeah, of course. Thank you for having me. It was great talking to you.
Yeah, man. And hopefully in 2021 and before 2022, we have some more great banging music from Saving Vice, man. All right?
Oh, you will. Don't worry about that, man.
All right. Awesome.